Haniye Baba Wama Uriye Wama Mubiyode Idera la Munga Walitage Siate Haniye Baba Wama Uriye Wama Mubiyode Usumala Munga Watara Yamba Haniye Baba Wama Uriye Wama
Good morning, everybody. Please be seated. We are glad you could join us here at the UB Gymnasium via live television and on live stream. This morning, two very special events will happen. Today, 44 new Belizeans will be sworn in, and our Prime Minister will deliver the State of the Nation address. I think we could give a hand for the 44 new Belizeans that will be sworn in this morning. In addition to our soon-to-be new Belizean citizens, I'm also happy that we are joined by students from Belmopan Comprehensive Methodist School. Welcome. Our Lady of Guadalupe High School. Methodist High School. And of course, our gracious hosts, the students of the University of Belize. Thank you for loaning us your space on short notice. Thank you, Mr. President of UB. At this time, I invite Ms. Tanya Santos Neal, Chief Executive Officer for Immigration, to lead us in prayer. Please rise.
Good morning. Let us bow our heads. Almighty and eternal God, who through Jesus Christ has revealed your glory to all nations, please protect and preserve Belize, our beloved country. God of might, wisdom, and justice, please assist our Belizean government and people with your Holy Spirit of counsel and fortitude. Let the light of your divine wisdom direct their plans and endeavors, so that with your help we may attain our just objectives. With your guidance, may all our endeavors tend to peace, social justice, liberty, national happiness, the increase of industry, sobriety, and useful knowledge. We pray, O God of mercy, for all of us, that we may be blessed in the knowledge and sanctified in the observance of your most holy law, that we may be preserved in union and in that peace which the world itself cannot give. And after enjoying the blessings of this life, please admit us, dear Lord, to that eternal reward that you have prepared for those who love you. Amen.
Thank you, CEO. Please be seated. Prime Minister, the Honorable John Briceño and Mrs. Briceño. Honorable Francis Fonseca, Minister with responsibility for culture. Members of the Cabinet, Excellencies of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, His Worship, Mayor Pablo Kawich, Mayor of Belmopan City, and members of the Belmopan City Council. Commanders of our armed forces, I see General Bennett, Admiral Bennett, and I see General Loria, and I see Acting Commissioner, all here this morning. Thank you for joining us. Honorable Marconi Leal Jr., Speaker Tempore, and members of the House of Representatives, Honorable Carolyn Trench Sandiford, President of the Senate, and members of the Senate, CEOs, Deputy Mayor of Belize City, Eliud Miller, distinguished guests, our beautiful Belizean students, ladies and gentlemen. Please, a hand for the Belize Defense Force Band and the members of the Belize Defense Force. For those, Prime Minister, you missed some beautiful music because of the protocol and because of your time of arrival. But once again, we have UB's very own professor now, Alex Evans, and along with the UB choir, along with the UB steel band, who provided and will provide more beautiful music this morning as we continue to be in the mood for our celebrations. Please, for the UB choir and for Mr. Alex Evans. This morning's parade is being furnished by members of the Belize Defense Force and the Police Department, senior non-commissioned officers, all arms drill course. The parade is being commanded by Captain Ashton Flowers, Parade Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer Class 2, Eliho Pop. Flag orderlies are provided by the Force Police. The parade is being facilitated by the Force Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer Class 1, Wilfredo Mohano, a graduate of the United States Sergeant Major Academy. On parade today, providing musical support for the Guard of Honor, mounted by the Band of the Belize Defense Force, is the musical which will include musical staples that you hear normally during the holidays. They started off this morning with Under the Double Tree. They will play Belize by the Sea. They played the Prime Minister's salute when he came in, and they will play the national anthem in a short while. The PM's salute, of course, is reserved for individuals holding that office only, and is played before and after he officially speaks or arrives at a ceremony, such like this. The Belizean national anthem is highlighted. The words and lyrics were written by Samuel Haynes, and the original music was composed by Dr. Selwyn Walford, a young musician and conductor. The BDF band policy is published by the Ministry of Defense and Border Security. The band is administrated by Band Sergeant Major Warrant Officer 2nd Class Keith Phoenix and Drum Major Sergeant Gilbert Wade. The Director of Music is Major Kevin Campbell. Ladies and gentlemen, the Belize Defense Force Band. And at this time, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our Minister of Culture and our Minister of Immigration, Honorable Francis Fonseca, to deliver the welcome remarks and to carry on with the business of the day.
Pleasant good morning to everyone. Prime Minister, Mrs. Briceño, our Special Envoy, Deputy Prime Minister Cordell Hyde, members of the Cabinet, members of Parliament, Chief Executive Officers, our mayors, members of the Diplomatic Corps who have joined us, our heads of the security services, students, of course, our wonderful students, and our host, the University of Belize, friends, my fellow Belizeans. Today and every day, we celebrate the beauty and promise of Belize. On this 16th day of September 2025, the state of our nation is strong, proud, and filled with hope. For Belizeans at home and in the diaspora, September is a month of pride and patriotism, a month of culture and festivities, a month of celebrations. Starting with National Flag Day on September 1st, we have already witnessed 2 weeks of vibrant, amazing activities, including the Creative and Cultural Excellence Awards, the Frankie Reno Concert Series, Timeless Tunes, the Belize Investment Summit, Carnival, Patriotic Songs and Poems, St. George's Key Day, the Fire Engine Parades, and our National Day of Prayer. Tomorrow is the tribute to Belizean patriots, where we recognize and celebrate those whose work and lives has contributed to the growth and development of our nation. On September 18th, we will proudly present to the nation our Belize National Orchestra under the leadership of Maestro Carlos Perrote. And on the 19th, it's Panyad, one of my favorites. And of course, on September 21st, we celebrate the birth of our nation, Independence Day. This year we celebrate under the theme, Belize at 44, Stronger Together, Rising Forever. This is a call for national unity and a tribute to the strength and resilience of the Belizean people. There must be a sense of purpose and unity as we confront the challenges facing our nation at 44. Belize is a small nation, but we stand tall and proud as a member of the international community of nations. We have the unique privilege of being both Central American and Caribbean. We embrace a foreign policy anchored in the values and principles of multilateralism, respect, dignity, fairness, and self-determination. Today, as a part of this ceremony, we are honored to welcome 44 new citizens of Belize into our national family. They join a nation on the move and on the rise, with love and passion in our hearts and hands. Let us work together to build Belize. Long live Belize. Thank you. Yeah. Friends, we now will swear in and administer the oath of allegiance to the new citizens of Belize, the 44 new citizens of Belize. You know. I invite the 44 new soon-to-be citizens of Belize to rise as I administer the oath of allegiance. And I ask you to repeat after me. I do swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to Belize and will uphold the Constitution and the laws of Belize. And that I will faithfully and conscientiously contribute to the development of Belize and discharge my duties and responsibilities as a Belizean citizen. I will further respect the history and culture of Belize and refrain from any antisocial or criminal activities, and devote myself to the service and well-being of the Belizean people. I pledge that I will do everything in my power to promote and strengthen democracy and the rule of law in Belize, and will do everything to promote the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Belize. So help me God.
Prime Minister, would you please take the dais? Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the Belizean national anthem as our new Belizeans will sing with us the national anthem for the first time as Belizeans. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, we invite the BDF to march off. Flower. Parade Sergeant Major Warrant Officer Class Eligio Pop. Flag orderlies provided by the Force. Force Sergeant Major Warrant Officer Class Wilfredo Mohano. Musical supplies by Defense Force Band. Please, a round of applause for the Belize Defense Force Band and our officers of the Police Department and the Belize Defense Force. At this time, we invite the Minister of Immigration, Honorable Francis Fonseca, to come back to issue the oath of office, to issue the certificate, and invite the Prime Minister to come on stage to receive the oath. to receive the certificates, sorry.
Our first new citizen, we invite each of you to the stage, Kalada Akhtar. Marlo Gumaro Alonso Rodriguez. Carlos Alberto Avelar Bonilla. Thomas Edward Barton. Sultana Begum. Peter Gay Camille Bradley. Noel George Cardice. Trinidad Concepcion Castillo Miranda. Pablo Giovanni Seren Presa. Haywood Allen Davis. Orlando Martin de la Cruz Novello. Karina de Los Ángeles de Paz. Leslie Escobar Vázquez. Maureen Nozuko Goniwe. Luis Napoleon Guardado. Ronald Charles Hawkins. Khairul Islam. Suman Chetkan Kumar Kanwani. Katarina Klassen Redikop. Michaela Caitlin Lefebvre. Yeah. Extra. Belinda Lopez Santos. Nicholas St. Aubin Martin. Marco Antonio Martinez Bonilla. Nora Lisette Matut Sandoval. Vilma Graciela Mayen Guillen. Iris Janet Mejia Pineda. Salvador Humberto Minero Marroquín. Nabilet Morales Benitez. Pedro Ocampo Cornelio. Neftali Ernesto Olvera Ramirez. Mariela del Carmen Osorio Mejia. Ruth Ramos Sanchez. Wilder Jesus Rivera Sanchez. William Alexander Robbins. Marielos del Rosario Rodriguez. Yuriani Royero Canul. Michael Shad. Nancy Schmidt. Sumaya Akhter Shanta. Lovely Nikem Taboe. Timothy Chokwuka Owahe. Glegg Lionel Watson. And last but not least, Stephen Frederick Zitzer. Please join me in giving our new 44 citizens a big round of applause.
Thank you very much, Minister Fonseca. Thank you, Prime Minister. As we get our technicians get us set for the Prime Minister for the State of the Nation address, we have to put the podium up, and while Alex gets ready for some entertainment, I just wanted you to know, while our people get set, that these 44 new Belizeans come from places like Bangladesh, Mexico, El Salvador, the United Kingdom, Jamaica, El Salvador, the United States of America, Nigeria, South Africa, India, Canada, and those are the Belizeans or new Belizeans from some of the countries from which they come from. Another round of applause, please. Alex, you ready? Thank you, Alex and the UB Choir. Mr. President of the university, I am sure you must be beaming with pride today. Thank you, sir. Thank you again for your hospitality. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister of Belize. I wonder if you want to redo PM.
Good morning. Good morning. What a way to start. My fellow Belizeans, these are proud days of celebration, days that will culminate with the arrival of our country's 44th birthday on the 21st September. 4 decades and 4 years have served to consolidate our nation's unique place in the Caribbean and Central American community and in the world. In a great measure, these 4 decades and 4 years of ascendant nationhood was captured by today's citizenship ceremony. 44 new Belizeans, may I say 44 and a half or 45? You miscount Cabsec. These new Belizeans, born in distant lands, diverse in ethnicity and culture, but freely and enthusiastically choosing to pledge loyalty and life to this, our glittering jewel. To be sure, the nation has traversed peaks and valleys since its birth in 1981, but never have our people veered away from those immortal values that befit a progressive society. Belizeans continuously embrace participatory democracy, free speech, opportunity based on merit, the right to a dignified living, and believe in the goodness of our Creator. Only a few weeks ago, Belizean diplomats who represent our nation across the globe gathered here in Belmopan for a periodic review. They sketched a picture of the world that is indeed more chaotic, more confrontational, more fractious than we have witnessed for 2 generations. In this tempest, what Belize represents, what our nation has been able to achieve since 1981, and especially since 2020, is for sure truly remarkable. And so, for the new Belizeans who just took their oath, and for all Belizeans, I delight in declaring that the state of the nation is in fighting fit. Belize today is more resilient and resolved to excellence and equality than ever before. More ready to seize this moment in the building of our nation, so rich with potential. In this fractious world, how tall Belize stands when at the recent summit with the presidents of our neighbors to the north and to the west, our 3 countries together pledged to jointly manage the Great Mayan Jungle Biocultural Corridor, a unique ecosystem that links our nations and that confers common purpose. Protecting patrimony that is humanities and not just national is a hallmark of Belize's contribution to the world. Consider how tall we stand today, when just 5 years ago, battered by misgovernance and pandemic, both our economy and our dollar were on the precipice of collapse. So high have we soared that for the 3rd year running, the IMF's report card could hardly have been more positive. 2024 growth stood at 8.1%, with the first half of the year projected for further expansion. For the first time in living memory, employment has surged to over 95%, with widespread reports of worker shortages in the private sector. Employers looking for workers and not workers looking for a job. How unusual is that? Hourly wage earners can soon expect another raise to $6 for the minimum wage from an administration that made good in our first term on the $5 per hour pledge. When that $6 per hour floor is established, this government would be the first ever to almost double the guaranteed income of those whose wages are paid at hourly wages. Apart from the tens of thousands of hourly workers whose pockets are a little deeper today, there are more than 15,000 public officers, teachers, and security personnel who, as a consequence of government's recent negotiations with the various unions, stand to gain over $100 million in additional wages. When the phased salary increase are fully implemented, and including increments through to 2027, the additional wages will value $112.4 million annually, or $750 per year on average for each of the public officers, teachers, and security personnel. Had the almost miraculous repair and reconstruction of the public finances not been achieved by this administration post-2020, this size of a wage increase would have been impossible. Today, not only is the Belize dollar backed by solid rock reserves and a value peg on moves since 1940, but we have welcomed in the last few weeks a currency note refreshed with our national heroes, George Price and Philip Goulston, now adoring the cash we exchange daily. National heroes, national symbols, and national attractions. The new banknotes, rolled out with notable efficiency, are but one additional symbol of Belize's strength and Belize's independence. Now, nation-building success is never without setbacks. In agriculture, for example, the fusarium disease cut this last sugarcane season's production by 15.47% and sugar by 23.9%, while financial revenues is estimated to fall between 35 to 40%. At the next crop is expected to fall by another 15 to 20% in sugarcane production. Yet, the farmers, the millers, and government are undeterred. The sugarcane industry, so vital to the North, will defeat fusarium with a collaborative plan that is well underway. $500,000 was invested in a successful experimental project, and $2.5 million was recently approved by Cabinet to treat cane fields. Already, the Office of the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Economic Transformation has raised another $7 million from CRESAP, $1.5 million from GCF through the 5 Cs, and $7 million from DFC, which has rehabilitated over 6,000 acres of cane fields and an ongoing rehabilitation of another 35,000 acres. And at the recent investment summit on Ambergris Caye, government signed an MOU that will expand sugar refining and broaden Belize's sugar exports to CARICOM and beyond. And we will defeat fusarium, so will our livestock industry survive the challenge from the New World screwworm. Again, the Ministry of Agriculture, in close partnership with the private sector, has been tireless in its efforts to educate ranchers and to organize a response consonant with our regional allies. The setback in sugar and livestock, and not so long ago in citrus, have not broken the spirit of ingenuity in Belize's primary sector, whose year-on-year expansion has been impressive. As one example, coconuts, that burgeoning new sector, paints the picture of Belizean resilience. Today, 18,000 acres of coconuts are planted. Just over 22 containers of coconut water and just over 700,000 nuts have been exported up to the end of July. The export of nuts and coconut water is expected to generate an estimated $4 million in 2025, when just a few years ago, this commodity was confined to domestic consumption. And in 2026, revenues from coconut is expected to surge to between $8 and $10 million as recently planted fields come into production and the industry begins to export green nuts to Mexico. Because of the policies and support mechanisms for industry that transcends the halls of the Ministry of Agriculture and the government of Belize, over $170 million in strategic investments have occurred in agriculture value adding within the last 3 years. To highlight a few: 1, coconut and juice processing. A minimum of $60 million have been invested in new plant construction for fruit and other juice processing, fruit pulp processing, soursop and pineapple processing, coconut water and coconut oil processing, and for preparing fresh coconut for export. 2, corn and wheat flour and corn chips, over $50 million, with 2 new flour mills coming into operation, a cornmeal plant, a ramen processing plant, and the Bowen corn chips snack plant. 3, soybean meal, oil, and animal feed. $32 million have been invested in soy meal and oil refinery. 4, poultry. $23.2 million in plant expansion, upgrades and modernization, and equipment for a new product line such as chicken ham, chicken sausages, bologna, and other value-added products. 5, the dairy sector. $6.8 million in UHT milk processing and dairy plant processing and storage expansions. And 6, chocolate manufacturing. Close to $5 million is being invested. These investments, stimulated by crucial policy measures and support, have triggered expansion in the production of raw materials that are needed to supply this expanding processing capacity. Today, we're seeing significant increases in the production of corn, soybeans, sorghum, coconuts, cacao, and non-tropical fruits, as well as expansion in the livestock and fishing sectors, particularly cattle, shrimp, and poultry. Our administration continues to strive for key infrastructural enhancements. Early next year, with the proper environmental plans and approvals in place, the Port of Belize expects to commence work on the upgrading of the marine access channel and harbor, to be followed by upgrades to the cargo facilities and mainland cruise berthing facilities. Accessibility to larger cargo vessels will improve trade efficiencies and benefit the Belizean consumer and exporter. And a cruise ship berthing facility will expand stay-over time and elevate spending to higher regional levels. The Port of Belize targets phase investments surpassing $800 million. Progress on Belizean farmers and infrastructure enhancements are matched by progress in Belizean hospitality. Despite the challenges to global tourism and the unceasing waves of sargassum blighting our coastline, the overnight and cruise tourism sectors remain sturdy. Through July, 364,418 overnight visitors arrived to our shores, a 1.3% increase compared to the same period last year. This was complemented by 595,682 cruise passengers, a 5.3% increase. The airline routes linking Belize to the world are already extensive and will be further expanded by adding new service on Air Canada from Montreal, which provide that same European connection we have long sought, and Spirit out of Fort Lauderdale, which will add a new low-cost option later this year. Hotel room expansion continues apace in all major destinations, and especially in Ambergris Key and on the Placencia Peninsula. An estimated 621 new quality rooms come online this year. And improvements at the PGIA are progressing, including to the terminal building, the apron, and the parking facilities. The prospect of a link to the Tren Maya routes and connectivity between the Mexican Maya Riviera and North Ambergris carry untold potential if undertaken in a manner consistent with high environmental standards. Of course, securing our cities, towns, villages, and our borders is crucial to instilling confidence in citizens, visitors, and investors alike. By this reasoning, result-specific spending has been ongoing for personnel training and equipment. The security forces, and especially the police department, continues to push back against domestic and transnational crime with gathering success. Major crimes have fallen by 3% this year, and murders are down by 20% through the end of August compared to last year. With regard to this recent controversy surrounding citizen Joseph Budna and his alleged abduction and reappearance in Guatemalan custody, I wish to reiterate that this government did not and would never sanction an extrajudicial extradition of any Belizean, no matter their station. The law of the land applies to every citizen alike, without prejudice. Wherever the police investigation leads into that matter, justice will be applied and justice will prevail. The proposed 13th constitutional amendment has also generated vibrant debate in the recent months. Let me underscore what I and colleague ministers have explained. Any change to the Constitution is weighty, not a frivolous exercise. That's why the various consultations have been extensive. But I underscore as well that our pledge to employ every lawful strategy and tactic to suppress gang violence will be relentless. So long as innocent, law-abiding citizens fear for their safety and the safety of their children, we will not be swayed by naysayers who conjure imaginary victims of state overreach, while the real victims of the criminals are overlooked. Plan Belize 2.0 is firing on all cylinders so that trust requires power. It requires electricity to bolster production and keep up with demand. A new agreement was signed just a few weeks ago for the generation of 15 megawatts of solar power. By the end of this year, we expect to sign 4 more agreements totaling an additional 80 megawatts of solar power. This is in fulfillment of our pledge to enhance clean power generation and buttress domestic power production. These new power plants, these new solar plants projects will come online by the end of 2026 and represent an investment of over $140 million. And so, as together we lock arms and march past the signposts of 44, I'm energized by our nation's vigorous help, by its dynamic transformation. 4 décadas y 4 años han servido para consolidar el lugar único de nuestra nación en la comunidad caribeña y Centroamérica y en el mundo. Los beliceños ejercemos constantemente la democracia participativa, la libertad de expresión, la oportunidad basada en el mérito, el derecho a una vida digna, y creemos en la bondad de nuestro Creador. En un mundo a menudo caótico, lo que Belice representa, lo que nuestra nación ha logrado desde el 1981 y especialmente desde los 2020, es sin duda verdaderamente extraordinario. Hemos alcanzado tal altura que por tercer año consecutivo el informe del Fondo Monetario Internacional difícilmente podría haber sido más positivo. Me complace declarar que el estado de la nación se encuentra en óptimas condiciones para afrontar los retos del futuro. On this sliver of planet Earth, 400,000 plus strong, blessed with wealth untold, animated by reverence to freedom, diversity, peace and equity, we shall continue to persevere, continue to advance to broader prosperity. Not colonialism, nor unfounded claims, not economic cycles, nor geopolitical shocks, not hurricanes, nor droughts, not disease, nor pandemic, not momentary stumbles, nor missteps. None of these or anything else can dent our stride to that higher plane where the guidance of our Creator, every Belizean can enjoy the precious fruits of this jewel, Belize. Belize forever, Belize for all. Que viva Belize. I thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. This brings us to the end of our formal program today. We invite you to stick around and have a little snack with us, and we'll ask Alex if perhaps the steel band can give us a song or two while we have a little snack. And thank you all, and have a happy independence, everybody. Good morning. Get home safely.